Vucevic, the deal that they ended up ultimately accepting to Chicago. I mean, is that a deal that you think the Celtics could have?
That's a good question. Yeah. So
that didn't seem like great, right?
Well, when we first discussed this earlier, John, it seemed like Gordon and Fournier together were going to be an option. So now that it's Fournier or Vucevic, it becomes a lot more enticing. Like, it's 17 million versus 22 million, so the money's not that far off. I know it's 2 seconds, which is essentially nothing, but if you could go to the length that Chicago did, 2 first-round picks, I don't think anybody would have had any issues with that. I've said go as far as 3 for Vucevic. So I think that's an easy second guess. I think if you're using up most of the TP on Fournier and there's nothing left there, that's the direction they probably should have gone. The question is, which we get back to, would you give up Rob for it? Which Rob seems to be the equivalent of Wendell Carter. Rob probably has more potential than Wendell Carter at this point. I think I'm stunned Orlando took Carter. He just doesn't seem to have the upside that people think he does.
Fine. Yeah, he's fine. You know, a lot of people ask.
Clearly he wasn't available. Then that tells me that Rob wasn't available. That tells me that they think pretty highly of Rob, because you can't tell me that they wouldn't have accepted a package from the Celtics that included Rob if that's what they accepted from Chicago.
Who knows? As Celtics fans, Jimmy, obviously, you know, Celtics fans tend to overvalue their assets. I think Rob is in one of those cases where I think they're valuing him like accordingly, like appropriately. I think they really view him as a piece at this point, and I think they feel they lucked into it. And I think giving it away now,
and here's the problem I've had with
giving it away.
No. I know, but I'm saying
in,
hunting now on something where you're like, wow, like, look, I mean, what have we talked about that this team needed to do more than anything is hit on a few picks, right? And you know, Bobby's pointed out before where you've had Tony Allen, and you had Rondo way back when, and who else hit in the 20s for them recently? Bradley was good. You've had a few hits there, but I mean a whole lot of misses, and not just misses in the 20s, but misses in the teens where you're more likely to find a player. So if you find someone at 27 who's a core piece moving forward, you got to think like that was pretty freaking good. And that atones for a misfire on a Romeo or a Neesmith or something, because you know, it's an inexact science at this point. And honestly, you could jumble everything up from pick 15 to 25 or even 40 sometimes. And you don't know where you're going to hit.
Because Fournier, especially to some degree, is kicking the can down the road a little bit. It helps you now. I'm glad they did it. But in terms of consolidating assets and bringing in a real player that moves the needle here, it doesn't do too much to add toward that direction. I know you can trade Fournier later, but his value this offseason is going to be so much less than Gordon's potentially could have been as the next asset toward the next move. So they haven't done much in terms of position themselves for that next deal. And if that next deal was on the table here, Rob for Vucevic, you probably have to think about doing that, especially for how long he signed.
He's an all-star center. He's a stretch big. He fits exactly what the NBA looks for and what the Celtics look for in a big.
Yeah.
To me, it tells me that they really value Rob.
Or
I can't imagine why the Magic wouldn't be interested in a deal centered around Rob.
Is there any chance, John, they look at Carter and say, we like him more than...
It's possible. Yeah. That's
really?
The other thing. Again,
well, they are Orlando. That's got them where they are.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just assuming. Maybe both things are true.
A lot of people here mentioning Lauri Markkanen. Now, there was a...